Well, as many of you know who have been following the channel, once a year I make the trip out here to United States, California, to spend time with my mom and my kids, and just kind of keep that bond going in person, face to face. And then I spend the rest of the year out in the Philippines, and now I'll be spending my time out in Southeast Asia. Well, what I wanted to do is I recently just did a video, which was, kind of a fun project I wanted to do. It was essentially 6 years of my life in the Philippines in photos done in 12 minutes. I'll put the link here at the top of the comment section. You can check out that video if you haven't seen it already. And it was just kind of a fun thing I wanted to do, put some music together and photos and kind of just share in one long stream, what my life has looked like in pictures for the last 6 years in the Philippines. And it was pretty amazing. It was a great adventure. But what I wanted to do today is share with you directly from myself just some of my own thoughts about those 6 years and the upcoming years, whatever's up around the corner, and just share those perspectives more directly. Now, again, every year I come and I spend about a month for Christmas and sometimes Christmas and Thanksgiving to spend with my family. And here's my thoughts, and a lot of people have asked me about this, and it's always the same answer I have, which is they say, well, can you ever see yourself coming back to the United States? And the answer is no. The only reason I come and visit the United States is for my family, just to spend time with them. If they were not here, I simply would not come back. Now, what's the reason for that? Is it because I hate America or something? No, again, my allegiance is with the United States. And there's many amazing things going on in the United States with technology and a lot of art and so much. I mean, I'm an American citizen, and I do believe in the United States. However, one of the great liberties about being an American citizen is that you are free to travel wherever you want. And so I choose to exercise that right. And, having an American passport, you can just about go to every country you'd ever want to go to and a bunch of countries that you'd probably never want to go to. So it's a pretty powerful passport, and I intend to make most of it. I read something online. It was saying that only 30% of Americans own a passport. And out of that 30%, not necessarily all 100% of those people use it. So less than 30% of American citizens actually get a passport and make use of it. Some might make use of it for a cruise or a one-time trip to Italy or Hawaii. Well, you don't need a passport for Hawaii. But, they may only make one major trip in their life, And so it is kind of it's the minority of people, at least I'll just speak for the United States, citizens who actually exercise their liberty to travel the world. Again, I don't necessarily have any grudge against the United States. There's things about it I love. There's things about it that I think could use some really a great deal of improvement. And when it comes to the social scene, now that I've experienced the social scene out in the Philippines, and I've experienced it here in the United States, 6 years as a single guy, I got to tell you, it's just not my bag. I have relatives who stayed here, they dated, they found somebody their own age, and they're happy. But it's not a life I want. I'm much happier being a single guy for now, and at some point I'll eventually settle down. I hope, but I'm not in any huge rush to get married. And I have no inclination to do what I call the hamster wheel here in the United States. I don't want to have a 30-year mortgage. I don't want to have a car. I don't want a big screen TV. I just don't want physical things. And I could live in the United States and not accumulate things. But what I would do in my spare time, when I compare the idea of traveling the United States, and again, there's things there that many people want to see, you could spend some time traveling. You could go see Vegas. You could go see the Smithsonian. You could go see Florida. You could see the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, which I did do a week backpacking in Yosemite years ago. I mean, there's a lot of great things to see in the United States, but it doesn't interest me because my interest since I was like 9, 10 years old has been with Asia. When I saw the Bruce Lee movies and the Jackie Chan movies and Michelle Yeoh and just everything about Asia just fascinated me. And that's where my interest is, and there's nothing good or bad or whatever about that. Some people, their big interest is in Europe. I don't really have a big interest in Europe, except Florence, Italy. I do want to see the art and food there. But so my first thought and commentary is that I just don't see myself living in the United States. The only way that would happen is maybe if my mom really needed full-time care, then I would do that for her. Or if for some reason I had some catastrophic, health situation that required me to live in the United States. But barring that, my great preference is to live out in Southeast Asia and see what it has to offer. And what I've seen so far, I truly enjoy. So I'll continue to enjoy that. Another thing I wanted to share with you is my general thoughts on answering the question, what was it like to spend the last 6 years living in the Philippines? It's almost hard to put into words. It definitely has been an adventure. It was far more than I ever thought it would be when I went there in 2012, not really knowing a whole lot. I mean, and when I say I didn't know a lot, I didn't know much at all. I mean, I didn't even know if they had malls in the Philippines. I thought I was moving out to some jungle area with a landing strip, and I'd be in a nipa hut the rest of my life. I came to the Philippines thinking to myself, I'll never sit in a movie theater again. I'll just be in this strange country. I really didn't know much because there really wasn't much on the Philippines in the internet back in 2011, which is when I made my decision. So I was very pleasantly pleased to find that, yes, they do have electricity, they have giant malls, they have, a wide variety of things to enjoy. And it's truly been, Guy, on so many levels, it's just more than I ever expected. And I had already been exposed to a bit of poverty for the 10 years that I used to go and visit Mexico there in Frontera, like along the Tecate and Rosarito, Tijuana border areas. I'd seen poverty before, and I had dated a girl that was there, and I knew what her life was like and all that. And in fact, my last wife was from Tijuana, Mexico. And so I was very familiar with that. So I wasn't shocked when I got to the Philippines and saw some of the poverty that you'll inevitably see, both in the city and in the province. It wasn't that. It was more the joy of a simple life. For some reason, I cannot have the same stress-free, simple life in the United States that I can have in the Philippines. When I'm in the Philippines, it's like a big weight just falls off my shoulders. I'm not worrying about getting a ticket because I didn't bring my trash can in by 6 p.m. or, something like that. A lot of things, I guess I could label it as over-regulation, being watched by the man. You just don't feel that in the Philippines. You feel very free. Now, a lot of guys call it the Wild Wild West. And it is that way in many ways. And there's some good and bad about that. I mean, the good part is, yeah, you don't have to worry if you're going to get a ticket because you didn't turn your left turn signal. But at the same time, if you have an accident, there's not going to be 911 rushing in. It's not going to be like an accident that I saw here in California where I pulled over and within 2-3 minutes, right behind me, there was like a total of, I think, four medically trained people. There was an EMT who had gotten off of work, a nurse who had gotten off work, a doctor. I mean, these were just regular civilians. There were a lot of trained professionals just happening to go home, and they pulled over for this motorcycle guy that wiped out. In fact, one of them was a friend of mine. He was a first responder where I worked at. So, but in the Philippines, if you wipe out on your motorcycle and you're laid out there staring at the hot sun, you'll probably get 20 different people putting you on Facebook, but you're not going to get 911, there in 5 minutes. So there's some trade-offs. There's some trade-offs there. But overall, my life so far that I've had, and I haven't ruled out coming back. My plan is to go and explore, see what more Southeast Asia has to offer for the next year or two. Nothing really, set in stone. And if it wins me over, I'll stay longer. If not, then I have no problem with going back to Cebu or Dumaguete and just seeing about, trying to settle down, trying to just put my whole traveling thing behind me. I truly am. I travel more, I think, out of habit and compulsion because I've traveled my entire life since I was a kid. To me, that's normal. You're supposed to do that every year. You're supposed to pick up and move because otherwise you're going to stay in the same place. I mean, it's just, and I'm trying to get that actually out of my system. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really know or understand. Is I do like traveling. I like seeing new places. I like seeing the sun come in through a different window at different times of the year. I like all that, but at the same time, you can't keep a long-term relationship if you're going to be bouncing around all over the place. So at some point, I would like to, settle down, whether it's going to be in Southeast Asia or whether it's going to be in the Philippines. And Dumaguete or Cebu are still on that list. Until then, I'm gonna travel around and see what there is, and just kind of see what happens. Just see what life brings my way. And along that note, having traveled through different islands, living on different places in the Philippines for 6 years, it's been joyous, and it's been some of the best times of my life, but it's also been heartbreaking. To feel I just had to move on. I just had to keep moving. And again, I don't know what drives me for that, but I know that it's strong enough I couldn't really resist it. And so again, I look forward to the day that I can actually be okay with staying in one city. I may even have to move around within that city, but just stay in one city. And then I can have an established long-term relationship. So part of my time in the Philippines was very heartbreaking to have to end relationships that there was nothing wrong with the relationship. Everything was actually fantastic. It was probably what most people would give their left arm for. And hopefully at some point I'll be able to stay in one place and actually enjoy what other people get to enjoy in a committed relationship. But for now, I want to just get this out of my system. And so looking forward to Southeast Asia, I will set myself a base. I will look around. I will check out, places probably every 3 months is what I'll do. Is I might check out a country for 2 weeks. I may check it out for a month. I may check it out for 3 months. I don't know. Again, my whole itinerary is based on if I like the place, I'll stay. If I'm just not really digging it, well, then I'll just move on. So everything pretty much for the future is wide open. I'm just gonna take it as it comes and make my decisions as I go. And if that ends up leading me back to the Philippines, then great. If I find a committed relationship in another country, then I'll go with that. And again, maybe that'll be where the road ends, and that maybe I'll find my home. Maybe I'll find my place that I can stay in. So just a couple of thoughts I wanted to share with you again about the last 6 years and the years coming up. We'll see what happens, but If nothing else, it should be interesting. All right, so I'll share the experience with you as much as I can here on video, and we'll just both find out what's coming up after 2019. All right, see you then.